Hey guys, welcome back. This is Math 172. We're working on a review for the final exam. This is problem 2 from your lab manual, and we're going to do an assortment, or a selection, I should say, of the problems there. The objective here is to simplify trig expressions. Since we don't have equations we're not solving, we're just trying to condense things down into their simplest form. In problem A, we're given an expression that's 2 times the sine of 4x times the cosine of 4x. And you might be tempted to use the double angle formula to expand this out, but in fact, this is 2 times the sine of something times the cosine of something is equal to the sine of twice that something. So we are using the double angle formula. Because we've got twice the sine of something times the cosine of that something. And this simplifies to the sine of 2 times whatever's in the parentheses for x. So this is just the sine of 8x, and we're done. So remember, use the double angle formulas to condense or to expand depending on the problem. And sometimes you don't know. You just have to try. You go down the wrong road. That didn't work, so you try something else, okay? I believe you're given these reference sheets for your tests. If you're not, then use flashcards. All right. Problem C asks, if we have sine x, cosine x, secant x, cotangent x. And we're asked to simplify. Now guys, the thing that you've got to remember, if you remember nothing else, okay, the thing you've got to remember is to take everything to sines and cosines. Like, get rid of this secant, get rid of this cotangent, because a lot of times you'll be able to see the identities better if you take every expression to sines and cosines. So these first 2 terms, we're just going to leave them like they are. We've got sine x times cosine x. But we know secant is 1 over cosine x. And cotangent is cosine over sine. Okay? So again, we left the first 2 terms alone, and we're just going to look at what's going on with these 2. But I believe now you can see there are some things that cancel out. So sine x being divided by sine x divides to 1. So we can cancel those terms. And then we've got a cosine x in the denominator here and a cosine x in the numerator here. So that's also gone. So once all the smoke is cleared, this expression simplifies to simply cosine x. So if you are on the test and your brain just goes blank, remember this. Go to sines and cosines. All right. So the next one that we're going to do is part E. Problem 2. We've got secant theta minus cosecant theta divided by sine theta minus cosine theta over sine 2 theta. My goodness. Okay, the first thing I want to do here, I hate dividing by fractions, so I'm actually going to flip this denominator and multiply. That's all I'm going to do in this first step. So we've got secant theta minus cosecant theta times sine of 2 theta over sine theta minus cosine theta. So again, all I did here was I brought this denominator up. So you can, instead of dividing, you can flip and multiply. All right, but now with this expression, I'm going to expand out this sine of 2 theta, and I'm going to change secant and cosecant into sines and cosines. So we've got 1 over cosine theta minus 1 over sine theta times 2 sine theta cosine theta over sine theta minus cosine theta. Okay, so again, we went from secant to 1 over cosine, went from cosecant to 1 over sine, and expanded sine of 2 theta out to 2 sine theta cosine theta. The next step, here we have a difference of fractions. We have to have a common denominator. So we're going to multiply this by sine on top and bottom, and multiply the second term by cosine on top and bottom. So we've got sine theta minus cosine theta over sine theta cosine theta times twice sine theta cosine theta over sine theta minus cosine theta. Oh my goodness, it looks like we'll be able to cancel some stuff. So in the numerator here, the first term is sine theta minus cosine theta, which is identical to the second term in the denominator, sine theta minus cosine theta. So these cancel, which is pretty cool. And then, but we're not done. There are more terms that appear in the numerator and the denominator. We've got sine theta here, which cancels with this sine theta. We've got cosine theta here that cancels with this cosine theta. Whew. So again, when the dust clears, everything is canceled, and this expression simplifies to the number 2. Can you believe it? 2. I guess they just wanted to show you that hard work does pay off.